The spaceport was alive with noise, lights, and rushing travelers. Ships from 100 worlds docked and departed. Merchants shouted their prices, and tired workers hurried home after long shifts. In the middle of all this, one man walked slowly, his human face drawing curious stares. He was new here, a traveler passing through the alien city. He had little money, just enough for a meal and maybe a cheap place to sleep. But as he walked past the main gate, he noticed something strange. An old alien, bent and weak, was standing near the ticket stalls. His clothes were torn, his skin dull, and his hands shook as he held out a small piece of paper like metal. "Ticket, please take my ticket," the old alien whispered in a broken voice. Hundreds of aliens passed by. Some sneered, others laughed. No one cared. The human stopped. He looked at the alien, and for a moment their eyes met. Those eyes were tired but carried a strange fire. "What kind of ticket is this?" the human asked. His voice was calm, but his heart was already pulling him closer. The alien pressed the thin metal slip into his hand. It felt warm, almost alive. "Travel ticket," the alien said. "But cursed." His voice dropped lower. "No one dares sit in that seat, no one dares carry it, but you. Maybe you should." The human frowned. It was just a ticket, scratched old with faded markings. "Why would I want this?" he asked. The alien's hand shook as he pushed it forward again. "Because destiny chooses the one who does not run, not the one who turns away," he whispered. "And you, human, are the only one who stopped for me." People around them began whispering. A group of alien workers shook their heads and moved further away. A mother pulled her child close. The human noticed their fear, but also their pity for him. "How much?" the human asked finally. The alien looked surprised. You will buy it?" The human sighed. He only had a few credits left, enough for food, but something inside told him this moment mattered. "Yes," he said, pressing the coins into the alien's hands. "I'll take it." The alien gripped his hand tightly. His touch was cold, his voice shaking. "You will regret this," he said. "Or maybe you will be the only one to survive." Before the human could ask what he meant, the alien slipped into the crowd and vanished, leaving only the strange, glowing ticket behind. The human stared at the ticket in his palm. It was etched with lines like stars, a seat number, and a faint mark he did not understand. It looked worthless, but it carried weight. He felt it deep inside. He walked to the terminal. The attendant scanned the ticket and paused. Her eyes widened, but she said nothing, just a small nod. "Proceed," she said. The human stepped onto the shuttle. The ship smelled of metal and fuel. Rows of seats stretched before him. He found his seat easily. It was empty, untouched, and strangely clean compared to the others. As he sat down, he noticed the aliens around him shifting. Some stared at him with wide eyes, some whispered behind their hands. One child tugged at her mother's sleeve. "Mama, he took the cursed seat," she whispered. The mother hushed. Her quickly, fear in her eyes, the human leaned back, confused but trying to stay calm. What was so special about this ticket? Why had the old alien looked at him like that? The engines roared. The shuttle lifted slowly, leaving the glowing city lights behind. Stars stretched out ahead. But the human could not shake the feeling that something was watching him. That something had already begun. He looked once more at the ticket. Its faint glow seemed brighter now. The lines across it shifted like moving constellations. And in that moment he realized, this was no ordinary ticket. Something was coming, and he was already caught in it. The shuttle drifted away from the IAD station, engines humming softly. Stars filled the windows, endless and silent. The human leaned back in his seat, but he felt the stares of others pressing against him. Every alien passenger avoided his row. Some even turned their faces away. The seat beside him stayed empty. Its leather was clean, polished, untouched, not even a speck of dust. He ran his hand across it, wondering why it looked so different. It was almost as if the seat was waiting for someone who never arrived. A nervous alien across the aisle kept glancing at him. Finally, the human leaned forward. "What's wrong with this seat?" he asked. The alien quickly looked away, pretending to sleep, but his trembling hands gave him away. The silence grew heavy. Then a soft voice came from behind. A little alien girl whispered to her mother, "Mama, that's the cursed place." Her voice was so small, yet the whole row went tense. The mother gasped and hushed her quickly. "Do not speak of it," she warned, her eyes darting nervously toward the human. But the damage was done. The word hung in the air. Cursed, the human's chest tightened. He looked at the empty seat again. Something about it felt wrong, like it carried a shadow. He remembered the old alien's eyes, full of sorrow and warning. "You will regret this, or maybe you will be the only one to survive." Those words echoed inside him. The shuttle attendants moved down the aisle, checking tickets. One of them reached his row. She scanned his slip, froze for a moment, then glanced at the empty seat, her lips pressed tight. "Proceed," she said quickly, and walked away, almost too fast. The human frowned. Was everyone afraid of this single spot? Why? He leaned back, staring at the ceiling lights, trying to calm his mind. The ship vibrated as it entered hyperlane, colors of light bending outside the window. A strange calm filled the cabin, but not for him. He could feel eyes on him, whispers he could not hear. Minutes passed. Then he noticed something else. His seat number glowed faintly on the panel above, not like the others. The numbers shifted, symbols rearranging as if alive. His heart skipped a beat. He touched the ticket again. It was warm, pulsing faintly like a heartbeat. Suddenly, the empty seat made a sound, a soft hum. He jumped slightly, staring at it. The seatbelt uncurled slowly, wrapping into position as if welcoming an invisible guest. The air felt heavy. His skin prickled with cold. He whispered to himself, "What is this?" A shadow flickered across the window, too large, too fast to be another shuttle. He blinked, pressing his face to the glass. But there was nothing now, only stars. Across the cabin, passengers grew restless. A tall alien finally spoke, his voice trembling. "Why did you sit there, human? Do you not know? That seat belongs to the marked one." The human's eyes narrowed. "The marked one?" The alien lowered his gaze. "Every cycle the warships come, they take the one who holds the cursed seat. No one ever returns." Whispers filled the rows. The human felt his stomach twist. He wanted to laugh, to say it was nonsense, but the fear in their faces was real. He clenched the ticket tighter, his voice steady. "So why was the ticket given to me?" No one answered. They all looked away. Silence returned, heavy and suffocating. The human's mind raced. Was this truly a curse, or something else? Why would the old alien want him to sit here? Why him of all people? The hum of the seat grew, louder, almost like a heartbeat echoing in the cabin. The human closed his eyes, but he could not escape the sound. Then, without warning, alarms rang through the shuttle. Red lights flashed across the walls. Passengers screamed. The captain's voice shouted over the speakers, "Unknown fleet detected. All passengers remain calm." The human's blood froze. He opened his eyes, staring out the window. 3 massive shadows appeared in the distance, growing larger by the second. Warships. And every single passenger turned their eyes to him, the man sitting beside the empty seat. The shuttle shook as alarms screamed through the cabin. Red lights washed over the walls, making the passengers' faces pale and fearful. The human gripped the armrest, his heart pounding hard. Through the wide window, shapes began to emerge. From the darkness of space, at first they looked like distant clouds, but then they grew larger, sharper, heavier. 3 warships, black as night and wide as cities, glided forward. Their hulls carried strange glowing marks, symbols of power and conquest. Gasps echoed through the shuttle. Mothers clutched their children, workers covered their faces. A silence fell, the silence of hopeless fear. The captain's voice came through the speakers again. "All passengers remain in your seats. Do not panic. We are negotiating." His words shook. Even he sounded unsure. The human stared at the warships, his throat dry. He had seen ships before, but nothing like these. They moved like predators, patient and certain. Their presence alone felt like a hand, squeezing his chest, and then, as if planned, every passenger turned toward him. Dozens of alien eyes locked on his seat. Whispers rose, but the words were clear enough. "It's him, the cursed one. They are here for him. The marked seat has called them again." The human swallowed hard. His grip on the strange glowing ticket tightened. He wanted to stand, to demand answers, but fear held him still. A little girl across the aisle pointed with a trembling hand. "Mama, it's him, the one they want." Her mother pulled her hand down and pressed her close, tears forming in her eyes. The ship shuddered as a beam of light cut across space. Scanning the shuttle, a deep voice filled the air, not through speakers but directly in their minds. A language none of the passengers spoke, yet somehow everyone understood. "Bring forth the holder of the seat," the voice thundered. "Or all shall burn." Screams erupted. Passengers pushed away from him, leaving his row completely isolated. Some even shouted, "Take him! Give him to them!" their voices sharp with terror. The human stood slowly, his legs heavy but steady. He raised the ticket in his hand. "Why me?" he whispered to no one. "Why did that old alien choose me?" The shuttle doors groaned, the walls shook. Soldiers in black armor appeared, stepping out from the beam of light. Their bodies glowed with strange patterns, their eyes hidden behind masks. They marched inside like shadows made flesh. The cabin went silent again. Only the sound of heavy boots echoed, step by step, closer to him. The human's chest tightened. He thought about running, about hiding, but there was nowhere to go. He sat down again, his hand gripping the cursed ticket so tight his knuckles turned white. One soldier stopped in front of his row. The mask tilted, staring at him. The soldier's hand reached forward, pointing directly at him. "The marked one," the soldier's voice hissed like metal scraping stone. "You carry what belongs to us." The passengers gasped, shrinking further into their seats. The human felt a chill crawl across his spine. His lips moved before he could stop them. "This ticket? What does it mean?" The soldier tilted his head, almost amused. "You ask as if you do not know," he said. "But you will, human. You will soon understand why you were chosen." The human's heartbeat thundered in his ears. He remembered the old alien's warning. "You will regret this, or maybe you will be the only one to survive." The words felt heavier now, pressing against his mind like a storm. The soldiers moved to surround him, but they did not touch him yet. They looked at the empty seat, bowed their heads slightly, then stepped back. It was as if they feared the seat itself, not him. Passengers watched with wide eyes, whispering prayers in their languages. The human sat frozen, his thoughts burning. Why was this seat so sacred, or so cursed? Why had the old alien given it to him and vanished? The warships outside shifted. Their cannons glowed, pointed at the shuttle. Time was running out. He felt it, every second pulling him closer to something he could not escape. He closed his eyes. Breathing slowly, the ticket pulsed in his hand, glowing brighter than ever. For the first time he felt it. Power, hidden and dangerous, waiting to be released. When he opened his eyes, the soldier was still pointing at him. "You will come with us," the soldier commanded. The human's jaw clenched, his fear turned to fire. He stood, his voice steady. "If I go, then tell me why. Tell me what this ticket means." The soldier was silent for a moment. Then his mask tilted, as if smiling. "It means war," he said simply. And outside, the first shadow of fire spread across the stars. The shuttle floated, in silence, trapped between the giant warships. The passengers sat frozen in fear. Every eye was on the human and the empty seat beside him. The soldiers in black armor stood still, their glowing marks shifting like living fire across their armor. The one pointing at the human lowered his hand at last. His voice cut through the silence, sharp and heavy. "The marked one has revealed himself." Gasps filled the cabin. Aliens whispered prayers. Some bowed their heads as if in mourning. Others stared at the human with hatred, as if his presence alone would bring death to them all. The human tightened his grip on the strange glowing ticket. His voice shook but did not break. "Why me? I did nothing. I only bought this from an old alien who begged me to take it." The soldier tilted his masked head. His tone was cold. "There is no mistake. You sit in the seat. You hold the mark. That is enough." The human looked at the empty seat beside him, its belt still fastened neatly, its surface glowing faintly under the red emergency lights. It was as if the seat was alive, waiting, breathing. He felt chills crawl down his spine. Another soldier stepped forward, his voice deeper, older. "The cursed seat has chosen. Every cycle it names a bearer, and the warships come to collect. Resistance is meaningless." The human's jaw tightened. "And what happens to the one you take?" The soldier paused. Silence stretched. Finally he said, "None return." A shiver passed through the passengers. Some began crying softly. Others muttered angrily. One alien shouted, "Take him! Do not risk the rest of us!" Another yelled, "Throw him out! Save our children!" The human's chest burned. He stood slowly, his ticket glowing brighter in his hand. His eyes scanned the cabin. "You are all afraid, but do you not wonder why?" He asked. "Why do they fear the seat? Why do they not sit here themselves?" The cabin went silent again. His words cut deep. He had noticed it. The soldiers never touched the seat, never came near it. They bowed to it, as if it carried something they could not control. The lead soldier's mask turned toward him. "Enough," he growled. "You will come." The human shook his head. His fear was still there, but a spark of defiance now burned inside him. "No, not until I understand what this means," he said. "Tell me what I carry. Tell me why this ticket matters." The soldier took a step closer. His armor hummed with strange light. "You are not worthy of the truth," he hissed. "You are only a vessel, a messenger, nothing more." The ticket pulsed suddenly, its light spreading across the human's hand. Symbols appeared in the air, glowing lines like constellations. The soldiers stepped back quickly, even the lead one froze for a moment. The passengers gasped in awe. The child who had spoken earlier whispered, "Mama, the seat accepts him." The soldiers' voices grew tense. "Enough," the leader roared. "Take him before it awakens fully." They moved forward again, boots pounding the floor, but the human did not step back. He held the ticket high, his voice steady. "If this is a curse, then why do you fear it? If it is only a seat, then why do you bow?" The soldiers halted. Their silence was louder than words. Suddenly, the shuttle speakers crackled with static. A new voice broke through, old, weak, but powerful. It was the old alien, the one who had given the ticket. "Human," the voice said, echoing across the cabin. "Do not give yourself to them. You carry more than you know. That ticket is not theirs. It is ours." The soldiers hissed, their armor sparking with rage. "Silence the traitor." One shouted, but the voice continued strong despite its age. "That seat once belonged to a king, a rebel leader who stood against the empire. They fear it because it carries his last command. And now, you are the one chosen to fulfill it." The human's eyes widened. His heart pounded. The passengers stared at him in awe and terror. The old alien's voice faded, but his final words lingered like fire. "Do not fear, human. You are not cursed. You are marked." The soldiers roared, raising their weapons. "Enough lies." The human raised the ticket higher. Its glow lit the cabin like a star. He could feel the weight of destiny pressing on him, crushing and lifting him at the same time. And as the warships outside charged their cannons, ready to fire, the human realized the truth. He was not just a victim of chance, he was the marked one. The cabin was glowing with the strange light of the ticket. Passengers shielded their eyes. Soldiers froze in place, unsure whether to move forward or retreat. The human stood at the center, trembling but unbroken. And then, the voice returned, crackling through the ship's speakers. It was old, tired, yet filled with fire. The voice of the alien who had sold him the ticket. "You hold more than metal, human," the voice said. "You hold the key to a war older than this empire. You hold a secret they fear." The human's chest tightened. He had known the ticket was strange, but not this. He shouted toward the speakers, "Tell me the truth. What is this ticket?" The soldiers roared, raising their weapons. "Do not listen." The leader cried, "He is a traitor, a liar." But the passengers leaned forward, eyes wide, desperate to hear. They too had lived in fear of these warships, for years. The voice continued. Long ago, before their empire spread, there was a rebellion. A king rose, not of blood, but of courage. He gathered the weak, the slaves, the outcasts, and made them strong. He sat in that seat on the shuttle of freedom. It was his command chair. The human stared at the empty seat beside him, his heart pounding harder. It wasn't cursed. It was sacred. The old alien's voice grew stronger. When the king fell in battle, his last order was sealed into that ticket, a command no soldier of the empire could ever touch, a command that would one day awaken when the right hands carried it. That is why they fear it. That is why they hunt it. The human looked at the soldiers. Their glowing armor flickered as if the voice itself burned them. He realized they weren't protecting the galaxy. They were protecting themselves from the truth. "But why me?" the human shouted. "Why give it to me, a stranger?" The old alien's voice softened. "Because only a stranger would choose it freely. Only someone who had no reason, no profit. Only someone who could not be bought by fear. You stopped when no one else did. That is why, human, you were chosen," the passengers murmured. Their fear began to shift. Some looked at the human with hope, others with doubt, but all could feel it. The balance was changing. The soldier leader growled, "Enough! He is no king, he is nothing." His weapon aimed at the human's chest. The human's hand shook as the ticket pulsed brighter. He could see patterns forming in the air, not just light, but a map. Lines stretched across the stars, connecting. Worlds, hidden bases, secret paths. The passengers gasped. "It's the lost map," one alien whispered. "The path of the rebellion," another cried. The old alien's voice thundered now. "Yes, the map of freedom hidden for generations. They destroyed our fleets, our cities, our homes, but not the map, not the command. And now, human, it awakens in your hands." The human stared at the glowing map, his throat dry. "What does it command?" he whispered. The voice grew quiet, almost like a prayer. "It calls them back. It calls the scattered fleets, the hidden armies, the lost children of rebellion. One signal, and they will return to fight." The soldiers roared in fury, charging forward. But as they neared, the ticket blazed like fire. They screamed, their armor sparking, forcing them back. The passengers gasped in awe. For the first time, they saw soldiers of the Empire step away in fear. The human breathed heavily, sweat on his brow. He looked at the seat again, and now he understood. This was not a curse. This was a throne, a symbol of hope. The old alien's voice faded, but his final words struck deep. "Do not waste it, human. You are the messenger. The rebellion lives if you choose to call it." Silence fell. Only the hum of the warships outside filled the air. The human lowered the ticket slowly, his mind racing. He had wanted only to help an old stranger, but now he stood holding the key to a galaxy's war. The choice was his. The shuttle shook under the shadow of the warships. Lights flickered across the cabin. The passengers held their breath, all waiting for the next move. The human stood at the center, the glowing ticket in his hand. The soldiers of the Empire formed a circle around him, weapons raised. Their leader's mask glowed with fury. "Give it to us, human," he demanded, "or every soul on this ship will burn." The passengers gasped, some begged, "Please give it to them, save us." Others whispered prayers to stars long forgotten. The human felt their fear pressing against him like a storm. His eyes dropped to the ticket. Its light pulsed, brighter, warmer. The map of rebellion shimmered faintly in the air above it, showing stars, paths, hidden strongholds. He felt its weight. More than metal, more than history. It was a choice. His mind raced. If he surrendered, the soldiers might spare the shuttle. But the map, the hope, the last command of a fallen king, would vanish forever. If he refused, the Empire's fury might consume them all. He looked around the cabin. Mothers held their children tight. Workers clenched their fists. Old ones trembled with wide eyes. All of them had lived under this shadow their whole lives. And now, somehow, he was the center of it. The soldier leader stepped closer, pressing the barrel of his weapon to the human's chest. Last chance, give it or die. The human's jaw tightened. His heart pounded. His voice rose, steady. If this is only a cursed seat, then why do you fear it? If this ticket is nothing, then why do your warships come? Why do your soldiers bow? The leader growled, pushing the weapon harder. Sparks of anger flashed across his armor. The other soldiers hissed, ready to strike. The human took a breath. His mind returned to the old alien's words. Only one who stops when no one else does. Only one who cannot be bought by fear. He lifted the ticket higher. Its light spread across the cabin. The passengers covered their faces. But they could see the truth. It was not just light. It was power. The soldier leader stepped back quickly. His voice cracked. He cannot use it. He is human. He does not know the command. But the human spoke loudly, his voice filling the shuttle. Maybe I don't know the command, but I know this. Your fear shows me it is stronger than you, and I will not hand it over. The cabin erupted. Some passengers cheered softly. Others wept in terror. The soldiers roared in rage. One lunged forward, blade glowing in hand. The human swung the ticket like a shield. The blade struck, but sparks flew as if hitting stone. The soldier was thrown back, crashing into the seats. The leader shouted, "Take him alive!" They surged forward, but the seat beside the human began to hum again. Louder, stronger. The belts snapped open and shut like jaws. The very air shimmered with invisible force. The soldiers froze, unable to step closer. The passengers gasped. A child whispered, "The seat protects him." The human looked down, his fear burned away, replaced by fire. He turned back to the soldiers. "I will not go with you. If this ticket carries war, then maybe it is time you feared more than a seat. Maybe it is time you feared the one who sits beside it." The soldiers hissed. Their armor glowed with unstable light, but they did not move. They dared not. Outside, the warships shifted. Their cannons hummed. The voice of the Empire boomed again, shaking the shuttle. "Surrender the marked one or perish." The passengers began screaming. Some grabbed at the human, begging, "Please save us, give it to them." The human stood tall, his hand shaking but steady, his voice cut through. Their cries, "No, if I give it to them, you may live today. But tomorrow they will burn another shuttle, another city, another world. This ends only if someone chooses not to bow." The cabin went silent. His words struck them like thunder. The soldier leader snarled, "You are only one man, human. What can you do against the Empire?" The human lifted the ticket, its light blazing like a star. "I am only one man," he said, "but sometimes one is enough to begin." The shuttle shook as the warships outside prepared to fire. The choice had been made. The human would not surrender. And in that moment, as if the galaxy itself listened, the map above the ticket grew larger, brighter. The stars aligned, forming a signal that reached far beyond the shuttle. Something had awakened. The shuttle trembled under the weight of the Empire's warships. Outside, their cannons glowed brighter, ready to strike. Inside, the passengers clung to their seats, their cries echoing. Fear filled the air, so heavy it was hard to breathe. Human stood in the middle of the cabin, the glowing ticket raised high. The map of stars above him pulsed like a living thing. The soldiers hissed, unable to step closer. Their leader's voice cracked through his mask. "You cannot win, human. Even if you resist, the Empire will crush you. It always does." The human's voice rose, steady as fire. "Maybe, but not today." The map shifted suddenly, symbols aligned, and a bright pulse shot outward through space. It was a signal, a call, reaching far beyond what the human could imagine. The warships outside shook as the wave passed through them. Their captains shouted orders, but the signal was already gone, already carried to the farthest corners of the galaxy. The passengers gasped as the ticket grew hotter in his hand. His mind filled with visions, fleets hidden in dark asteroid fields, warriors training in caves under ruined worlds, voices whispering across the stars. "We hear you. "We are coming," the soldiers roared in rage. Their weapons lifted, but when they fired, the bolts bent away, slamming into walls and vanishing. The seat beside the human glowed, its hum rising like a roar. A shield of light spread across him. The leader screamed, "Kill him!" But none of their weapons touched. Then a deep voice echoed through the shuttle, familiar and strong. It was the old alien again, but clearer now. His face appeared as a flickering image above the seat. His eyes burned with pride. "Human," he said, "you have done what none of us could. You answered the call. You gave the command. And now, the rebellion wakes again." The passengers stared in shock. Some cried, some bowed, some reached out toward the human as if he were no longer just a man, but a symbol. The human swallowed hard. His voice trembled. "I didn't choose this, I only tried to help you." The old alien smiled sadly. "And that is why you were chosen." Outside, space rippled, stars bent, engines roared. Out of hyperspace, ships began to appear. At first one, then three, then dozens. Sleek, battered, but alive rebel warships. Forgotten by history, now answering the signal. The Empire's fleet turned, their cannons spinning. The black warships opened fire. Beams of fire cut through the void, but the rebel ships answered. Their guns roared, their shields flared. The sky lit up with war. Explosions rippled across the darkness. Fire spread like dawn breaking. Inside the shuttle, passengers cried out in awe. Some screamed in terror, but others cheered. They saw hope burning bright for the first time in their lives. The soldiers turned in panic. Their leader raised his blade, but the human stepped forward. The ticket blazed in his hand. The seat roared louder, and a force threw the soldiers backward, slamming them into the walls. The human's voice thundered, "This ends today, the rebellion lives." The soldiers staggered to their feet, but their courage was broken. One by one, they retreated, fading into the beam of light that pulled them back to their warships. Their leader hissed a final curse. "You cannot escape us, human. This war has only begun." And then they were gone outside. The Empire's ships reeled under the rebel assault. The sky was filled with flames, burning wreckage, and blazing light. For the first time in generations, the Empire bled. The human sank into his seat, exhausted. The ticket dimmed but still glowed faintly. The passengers gathered around him. Their fear was gone, replaced with something new. Respect, hope, even belief. A mother placed her hand on his shoulder. "You are the marked one," she whispered. "Not cursed, but chosen." The human looked at the seat beside him. Still empty, still glowing faintly. He realized he was not alone. He carried the weight of a fallen king, of a broken rebellion, and now, of a galaxy waiting for freedom. He closed his eyes, breathing deep. His journey had only just begun. And outside the window, the sky burned with the fire of war.